Did you know that Einstein's theory of relativity is in the Bible? And did you know that this understanding can affect your health? I'm sharing this topic in light of health in hopes that the intellectual mind would see that you do not need to have a blind faith in God's Word. As the author of science, the Father can be trusted. You do not have to shut off your brain to be a believer. You can have an intelligent faith. In order for you to see how Einstein's theory is in the Bible and its relation to your health, I will be going over 3 points. A very brief, generic overview of Einstein's theory will be given. 2, how this is related to the Bible, and finally, how this is applied to your health. Einstein's theory of relativity has 2 components: special relativity and general relativity. The basic point of special relativity is that time slows down the faster you move, called time dilation. Therefore, time is relative depending on what perspective you are measuring. For instance, if a person were moving away from a clock tower at the speed of light, the clock's hands would appear to freeze, meaning time would seem to have slowed or stopped. However, not so for the individual standing next to the clock. The difference in time can also be seen with general relativity when measuring a clock at sea level versus on top of Mount Everest. The clock on Mount Everest would measure slightly faster than that at sea level. The main point of these 2 theories is that there are different perspectives in the measurement of time. The same is true when looking at time in the Bible. Understanding that the relativity of time can be described as a difference in the measurement of time depending on what perspective you are viewing it from gives a foundation that the Bible revealed this before Einstein discovered it. For instance, the Bible points out 4 general perspectives of time: a literal day, a day equaling a year, a day for 1,000 years, or a day representing an indefinite or undefined period of time. So let's look at the literal day. The concept of a literal day can be seen from the dungeons of Egypt. When Joseph was in prison for something he did not do, he came across 2 men, the Pharaoh's butler and baker. Since these 2 attendants had offended the Pharaoh, they were put in prison until the matter was solved. While in prison, both men had a dream. In the morning, neither one could understand the meaning of their dream. However, Joseph, a God-fearing man, believed that Jehovah would give him the interpretation. So the butler begins describing his dream and explains how a vine with 3 branches brought forth ripe grapes. He takes the grapes and squeezes the juice into Pharaoh's cup. Now, the baker shares his dream of how he had 3 baskets on his head and the birds ate out of the upper basket. Through the Spirit of the Most High, Joseph interprets these parables as 3 literal days in which the butler will return to his post serving Pharaoh, but the baker will be executed, and in 3 literal days, the events came true according to the interpretation. The second perspective of time in the Bible is a day equaling a year. Israel had sinned against God, and as a result, the maker of heaven and earth called Ezekiel to be a living parable. This man of God was directed to lie on his side for a specific period of time, representing the judgment that would come upon Israel. But each day didn't represent the literal day. Instead, God said each day would represent a year. The day for a year principle is key to interpreting the prophecies of Daniel, and this same principle is also seen with the Hebrews after the Exodus. After sending spies into the Promised Land, 10 out of the 12 brought fear into the camp, leading the majority to distrust the victory the Lord had promised. As a result, the camp was sent back into the wilderness to wander for 40 years, a year for each of the 40 days the spies had searched the land. Time is also measured in the Bible as a day for 1,000 years, as recorded by the psalmist and Peter. A day for 1,000 years can be seen in the life of Adam. God told Adam that in the day that he eats of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he would surely die. Depending on how one is measuring time, God either looks like he is mistaken or is measuring time from a different perspective than a literal day. So according to Genesis, Adam did not die in the literal day in which he ate of the forbidden fruit. But the relativity of time, with a day equaling 1,000 years, Adam's judgment of death did occur within the 1,000-year day period, with him dying at the age of 930 years old, revealing that God's word is accurate. So finally, we come to the concept that a day represents an undefined period of time. For instance, Ecclesiastes talks about a day of prosperity, which does not indicate a specific day, but an undefined period of time where prosperity is prominent. The same idea is seen when the Bible describes the day of the Lord, representing an undefined period of time occurring over several generations, with many prophetic events happening within this time period. So let's recap. So far, we have seen that Einstein discovered that time is relative depending on your perspective. Well, the Bible too reveals different measurements of time. So now what does this have to do with your health? First of all, I hope that you see that the Bible is not a dry book and can have practical applications for the studious mind. I serve an awesome God who allows for discovery in the sciences within His Word. And if He can measure and create different aspects of time, He definitely knows the intricacies of your health. But more specifically, the theory of relativity of time can be seen in the medical world as well. Ephesians talks about redeeming the time because the days are evil. The word redeeming means to buy or rescue from loss or improve opportunity. According to science, our mindset changes your perspective of time, causing the perception of time to be relative. This means that you can redeem the time lost by your mindset, or you can lose time by evil thinking. For example, have you noticed that when you are in a negative state of mind, the situation you're in can seem like it's lasting forever? Well, time flies when you're having fun, right? Einstein explained the concept by stating, "Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute." That's relativity. Even though time literally did not pass faster or slower in these examples, the perception of time was different. This perception of time difference can have biological effects on your body through the mind-body connection. This is seen when scientists induced minor bruising on subjects' forearms and then put them in rooms where the clocks were set at a double speed, half speed, and normal speed, but the actual time that elapsed for all participants was the same 28 minutes. The results reveal a redemption in time. Those that perceived time moving faster had wounds that healed faster, while those who thought time moved slower had a slower healing rate than the normal faster moving clocks. Negative emotions and fear can dilate our perception of time, causing it to feel slower. So when your body is in a constant fight or flight state, time feels slower, resulting in a slower healing process. But the promise is that the Lord can redeem the time as the author of time. There's a promise in Joel stating, "I will restore you the years that the locusts have eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm." Do you feel like your body is eaten up and wasted? The same God who created time relativity and revealed its mathematical details to a scientist can help you with your health. This is what Dunamis Health Strategies is all about, taking the unity in science and the Bible to help you restore your health, mind, body, and spirit. And remember, you do not have to shut off your brain to have faith. You can have intellectual faith. So, what is stopping you from moving forward to improve your mind-body connection? I hope you won't waste any more precious time that you have and start now. Check out my website in the description box to learn a little more about what I do and how I can help you.